Hi, welcome to Anaprime Recap. You will take part in a school festival that will be attended by extremely powerful demons. We continue our journey into the underworld of the anime. Welcome to Demon School. Episodes 13, 14 and 15. After the incident in the magic apparatus battlers room, Iruma ends up volunteering to help Amy Kiryu, the veteran who leads this group. The club leader explains to the protagonist that he is the only member of his own team. Meanwhile, Ameri is disappointed in her misfit friend. She receives a message from him, warning her that he would not be able to visit the student council club that day. The girl is disappointed as she had prepared a nice welcome reception. At this point, Iruma begins to understand more about magical devices, these being any kind of objects surrounded by some kind of magic. Kiryu shows the novice a few items from his collection. The first is a sphere that glows when it comes into contact with the user's power. The second object is a doll that interacts with people through the use of magic. The protagonist realizes that the veteran, when demonstrating the operation of these apparatuses, ended up weakened, leading Iruma to think that he was not the only misfit in the art of using magic. Kiryu tells the young man that he was working on a new project capable of providing magic to any individual, but in an attempt to make it work, he caused a huge explosion and thereby destroyed the tool capable of generating combustion for his machine. It was a huge heart-shaped object that fell to pieces after a failed attempt at execution. Iruma volunteers to try to fix it, and by putting all the pieces together, the misfit young man manages to reassemble it perfectly. Kiryu is impressed by the protagonist's ability to repair, and then it is explained that this gift for restoring broken things was developed while on Earth, where the young man went through complicated situations and his only solution was to mend electronic objects to reuse them, since he had no money. Iruma asks him to try again to start up the machine. The veteran accepts the idea very happily, and so they both begin to equip each missing piece of the magical apparatus. With this, the mechanism is set to start up again. In this new attempt, everything goes according to plan and Kiryu explains his true ambition to the newcomer. He wants to break the power inequality that occurs in the netherworld, where the demons that have little magic end up submitting to those who are stronger. His wish is that everyone walks on the same level. After this, Iruma returns to stay with his friends. Clara and Asmodeus are worried about his sudden disappearance. Also, the protagonist goes to Ameri's room, who is extremely frustrated at this point, her teammates believing that she is sad as a result of Asmodeus not showing up to run for student council. However, the leader is frustrated because Iruma has not accepted her request to be summoned. At that very moment, the young man comes through the door and explains to the girl that he will not be able to join her group, thanking her for the invitation and saying that the decoration of the place was similar to the manga they read daily. Ameri is disappointed with his answer, but at the same time is overcome with a feeling of happiness when she hears that the young man has noticed the details she herself prepared for the decoration. The next day, Kiryu was just going through another routine day in his life when he was surprised by Iruma, who said he wanted to join the magic apparatus group. Not only he, but Clara and Asmodeus were also willing to join the same group. The veteran is so emotional that he simply collapses after receiving the news. Later, back home, Iruma talks to Opera about the presentation of the Battlers, a school event where students and their parents meet and demonstrate to their guardians. The protagonist understands that this was a presentation for Father's Day, similar to what usually happens in schools in the human world. While the butler was organizing all the gadgets and equipment to make an exceptional film of the young man, Iruma asks him where his grandfather is, and learns that Sullivan has gone to an extremely important meeting with other powerful beings from the netherworld. The 13 most skilled demons in the demonic world gather on floor 665 in the Tower of Babel. The goal of this amazing group is to decide once and for all who will be the next king of demons. However, some members of this group end up missing, leaving only those present in the room to choose who will occupy this position. The competition is fierce between three demons. The first nominee being Belial, for his incredible intelligence, the second, Levi, with her dedicated leadership strength, and lastly, Sullivan, with his extraordinary abilities. The demons end up taking the discussion personally when it comes to the decision, and with that, a mess happens in that place, temporarily interrupting the meeting. Meanwhile, on floor 666, the three chosen to become Demon King are gathered at a table. For the trio, the chosen one should be the one who has the best grandchild. At this instant, Belial and Levi show the pictures of their respective grandchildren. They claim that their grandchildren are intelligent, skilled and have a unique and exceptional personality. Sullivan, who had been quiet until now, shows everyone that he now has a very cute grandson. With several pictures of the young man on the table, the demons observe that the young man has an admirable appearance. The two demons question Sullivan. After all, he has no son, so it would be impossible for the old man to have a grandson. When asked about this, the demon replies only that he cheated in the competition. The trio then decide not to go with this method of choice. They make the decision to hold a vote to choose who would be the new demon king. Belial and Levi give their votes to Sullivan, stating that they trust the old man's ability and skills. However, the director of the Babel's institution thinks well and reflects that now he has a grandson. The demon treats him with all love and affection, and in no way would he like to lose the achievements and victories that the young man would achieve in the future, since until the present moment, he has been striving to be stronger. Sullivan then refuses the request, and the trio agrees that it is best that there be no demon king for the time being. The fighting between the other demons continued on the floor below, when suddenly someone enters on the 666th floor. Henri is one of the 13 strongest demons, chief of police of the Netherworld and father of the student Ameri. The police demon issues an arrest warrant against Sullivan, stating that he is being charged for illegally invading the human world. At Iruma's house, Opera answers a phone call. Sullivan explains his embarrassing situation to his butler, telling him that at this moment he is being held at the demonic prison, but that he would soon find a way out of that place. After all, he wished to be present at the battlers' party. The old man tells Opera not to comment on what happened to his grandson, because then he would not be worried about his grandfather. The butler agrees and lets Iruma know that all is well with Sullivan. At the high school, all the students are extremely nervous about the battlers' party. They fear the presence of their families, because the honor of each family would be put to the test during the event. The students did not wish to embarrass their parents in any way. Professor Kaalego warns them to be confident on the day of the ceremony and not let fear consume them. After a few words of encouragement from their teacher, the students eventually calm down. At this moment, a coordinator of the institution asks Kaalego to come to the principal's office. The situation at the Babel's institution continues without a clear direction. With Sullivan's arrest, all the teachers and tutors are thinking about how they are going to proceed from that moment on. Kaalego is chosen from among all the teachers to take over as temporary principal. In fact, Sullivan has had this in mind for a long time. Should something happen to him, it would be the teacher of the misfits who would be the best choice to run the school. In the room of the magic apparatus battlers, Kirio is with Iruma and his friends. The veteran tells his colleague that his parents will not come to the festival. They are not proud of a son who has such low magic potential. Iruma identifies with Kirio. After all, his parents have never been very present in his life either, from his childhood to his present age. The veteran explains that his guardian will be the tutor who helped him get into the magic apparatus group. At that very moment, Kirio receives a call from his tutor. When he answers the call, he is harshly criticized and receives several insults, and is asked why he has not yet organized anything for the presentation of the event. After hanging up his hell phone, he calls the new members of his team to help him organize the preparations for the long-awaited party of the battlers. The quartet arrives at the event area and is amazed at the number of tents and booths already built by other students. Each location belonged to a group of battlers. Some of them attracted a lot of attention, such as the magic animal tamers, the magic battlers, and the succubus battlers. The group of friends begins to get very excited, but when they realize where their tent would be, they are disappointed, because it was not even a fifth of the location of the other groups. With this in mind, the team tries to do their best in the presentation, because if they stand out, they could even move up in the rankings. Iruma thinks of something that can attract many looks. Asmodeus says he will be happy if he can add his flames to the attraction. After all, they are his family's honor, and Clara asks that the project include several explosions, the more the better. The protagonist, while trying to put together all the ideas put forward by his friends, comes to the incredible conclusion of producing fireworks. After all, with this, the small space would not be a problem, since the attraction would take place in the sky and would have the involvement with fire as well as several explosions. Everyone accepts the wonderful idea. Kirio then suggests that they spend the night at the institution, so that they could perform some tests before the day of the event. The group agrees, and everyone decides to spend the night at the college. Later that same day, Kirio demonstrates his bloodline ability, called Barrier, which is an invisible protection, responsible for shielding the young man every time he gets involved in some explosion with the magic apparatus. The veteran was trying to reproduce fireworks, but for him it is difficult, since they do not exist in the demon world. At that moment, Iruma has an idea how they can realize the project. He goes to Ameri's room and the girl is embarrassed, because Iruma never went to visit her willingly, only when he was called. The protagonist asks her to lend him one of the volumes of the romantic manga. In it there was a page that contained the fireworks, and with that he would help in their production. The girl is afraid, but in the end, she gives in and complies with her friend's request. The young man then returns to his group and they begin to make several attempts to make fireworks. After several hits and misses, the battlers of magical apparatus find themselves in an open area to conduct tests with the prototype. When they activate the device with Asmodeus flames, gunpowder is released and explodes in the sky, generating a great display. They celebrate their conquest, and that night they have an incredible pillow fight, turning the occasion into a real slumber party. Iruma is extremely happy because he has never had the opportunity to have such a fun experience. At the end, when everyone was exhausted, Kiryu receives a mysterious phone call and leaves the room where they were having fun. In the hallway, he talks to his tutor about the annihilation of the Babel's institution. The young man's mentor is Baal, the Lord of Thunder, and he is a member of the group of the 13 strongest demons of the Nether World. The next day, as the students are gathered in the high school cafeteria, they are all surprised by a broadcast that will tell them what rewards the winners will receive on the day of the festival. The consolation prize will be a luxurious room for the group of battlers who win that position. Then the second prize is announced, being a large amount of money and gold donated to the team, and finally the special prize, which if given to the number 1 winner, the president of the winners will go up 2 ranks and the other team members will go up only 1. The students are extremely excited about the wonderful news, and it makes them work even harder to win at least one of the prizes. At the festival site, Asmodeus and Clara finally adjust the machine capable of releasing the fireworks. Iruma can't find Kiryu at the site, and the prodigy young man explains that the leader of the group didn't participate because he was dealing with issues related to the battlers at the school board. However, the senior was actually in the corridors of the institution. The young man triggers a device on the wall of the school, and with this, he unlocks a secret passage that only he knew about. As he enters the room, he reflects that everything he has done so far has worked out well, receiving help from the new members of his group. The young man has an evil plan in mind together with Baal. The two want to eliminate all the students of the Babel's institution on the eve of the festival. The veteran begins to make the necessary adjustments to the machine that will be used to cause such destruction. However, to his surprise, he has forgotten to close the secret passage, and Iruma enters the place without suspecting anything. The misfit young man explains to Kiryu that he found the place by chance. The ring on his finger dragged him all over the school until finally its power ceased when he found the secret passage. The veteran takes advantage of being alone with Iruma, calling him to admire an interesting part of his room. He shows the protagonist the graveyard of magical devices, several objects that were either unsuccessful in their function or too dangerous to be used again. The misfit young man is amazed at the sheer number of failed projects. Kiryu then opens the curtains of the room and shows his friend an incredible view of much of the institution's campus from this very window. From this amazing location, they observe that Professor Kaolego is losing patience with Professor Robin. The familiar instructor has nicknamed his coworker Dorego, a fusion of director and Kaolego. As they observe yet another typical scene from the institution, Kiryu reinforces the idea that his ambition is to create magical apparatuses that help weaker demons reach a high level in the rank, leaving humiliation aside once and for all. After all, everyone is equal without any difference. Iruma understands his friend's dream, and tells him that they should get the special prize at the festival. In this way, they would show everyone that even the weakest and most misfit can achieve their goals when they try hard enough. Kiryu is astonished by the newcomer's idea, replying that usually first place is always won by the strongest group of demons in the institution. He tells Iruma that this is a very ambitious idea and admires his determination to win the prize. Upon returning to the festival site, they notice that Clara and Asmodeus have decorated the fireworks launcher, which is the only attraction displayed by the group. At this moment, all the students hear an announcement that the festival is near and will begin very soon. The next day, the students are going through various emotions, some extremely excited, others don't care much, but a large part of the students dread the presence of their parents at the party of the battlers. Clara eagerly prepares for the festival, making her whole family proud to be part of a group of battlers. Asmodeus leaves home and receives the unfortunate news that his mother will be present at the event. The prodigious young man desperately asks his butler to stop his mother from going to school. Iruma is worried, because so far he has not seen Sullivan once. Opera surprises the young man by saying that he shouldn't be nervous about the festival. After all, his grandfather would be there anyway. The butler says that even though the old man is lax, random, careless and sometimes ridiculous, he always keeps his promises. Clara and Asmodeus are waiting for Iruma, and so the trio of friends feel happy about the eve of the battlers' feast. On the other hand, Kiryu, who was already at school, begins preparations to put his evil plan into practice. Can the traitorous young man carry out his plan of destruction? Will Iruma discover the whole truth behind his new friend? So, what did you think of this anime? Leave it in the comments below. And if you liked the video, like it and subscribe for more anime recaps. See you next time.